Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Every business owner, anyone that had to do this will tell you the same thing. It is not an easy decision to make.
The governor of North Dakota has announced the state has reached a record for unemployment filings. Just under 14,000 people have applied in the last 9 days. Data shows the businesses hit the hardest were the service industry. Valley News Team's Joshua Pagero breaks down those numbers and the kind of help locals should be receiving soon.
Charles Kessler is co-owner of the tattoo parlor Dead Rockstar. He says his business was one of the first to close following the coronavirus outbreak.
I didn't feel right putting our clients in that spot and possibly exposing all of us to it.
Kessler says he has applied for an emergency loan through the Small Business Administration.
We encourage some of our employees to file for unemployment for the time being. We're trying to keep care of our people too, you know.
Nearly 6,000 North Dakotans applied for unemployment last week, according to new data provided by the state. On the previous week, ending March 14th, 521 applied. That's an increase of 1,000%. Cass County had the most unemployment filings, with a majority of businesses impacted in the food and accommodation sector.
Service sector has been destroyed. Okay, restaurants, tourism, travel, that's all gone.
Professor Robert Hearn of North Dakota State University says that industry should rebound quickly once this passes.
There might be businesses that use this opportunity to kind of change the way they do things.
Cowboy Jacks in downtown Fargo had to lay off employees, although the person we spoke to didn't want to confirm how many. The new federal bill would add an extra $600 a week to those who are already receiving unemployment benefits. In Fargo, Joshua Pagero, Valley News Live.
The U.S. House is expected to vote on the $2.2 trillion stimulus bill tomorrow. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says it should pass and go to President Donald Trump's desk for his signature. There are now 58 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in North Dakota. Governor Doug Burgum is asking for any spring breakers coming back to the state to stay at home for at least 14 days. State leaders also spoke about childcare at their briefing today.
We're encouraging K-12 school districts to offer childcare on a temporary basis. They can accomplish this by utilizing ancillary school staff, such as paraprofessionals, and not credentialed teachers. These ancillary staff are already background checked and able to care for children of this age. To allow communities to do this where they deem it necessary and appropriate, the governor has amended the executive order signed last week that limited school access to essential staff only. Some districts are already planning to do this, including Bismarck Public Schools.
Jones also talked about new guidelines for childcare providers. Those precautions include a limit of 10 kids per room, including adults. The Minnesota Department of Health says cases have now been reported in Wilkin and Mahnomen counties. Another case has also been reported in Clay County, bringing the total there up to 4. Minnesota has a total of 346 cases. 31 of them are currently in the hospital. 2 people diagnosed with COVID-19 in the state have died. With the new shelter-in-place order for Minnesota, many are wondering how law enforcement will handle it. Clay County Sheriff Mark Empting says deputies will not stop you to see if you should be heading to or from work or other essential services. The sheriff says you have a constitutional right to privacy, and law enforcement cannot stop you unless they have reasonable suspicion to. He also says authorities will not arrest people or issue citations to people who are outside of their homes. The weather has been improving as this day has gone on, and despite the thin, low clouds, there's blue sky on the backside. Let's get the latest from the First Alert Storm Team. Hutch?
All right, thanks so much, Andrea. We do have some blue skies overhead, some high clouds out there, and temperatures that are going in the right direction. We're still a little bit below average for this time of the year. It's 44 in Alexandria, 41 in Fergus Falls. That's the warm spot there, and it's not too bad out in the Devil's Lake area as well as Jamestown. Some showers of rain and mixing with a few flakes of snow moving through South Dakota, southern Minnesota. For us, a quiet evening is on the docket. Temperatures are going to sneak down into the upper 20s by bedtime tonight. Mostly clear skies, and our wind will be from the south at only around 5 miles per hour. Slipping into the 20s by around the 10 o'clock hour here in the Grand Forks area. Under mostly clear skies, we will stay well, not too cold tonight. Now we're going to take a look at the rivers because as our warm-up continues, the melt will as well. Details on that and your forecast here in just a couple of moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Despite many people working and learning from home and no longer out in the community, local law enforcement say that doesn't mean there's less crime. Many say their numbers of calls are just about the same as last year. Police say non-emergent calls are now being taken by phone as much as possible to respect social distancing. However, West Fargo Assistant Police Chief Jerry Boyer says that can't always be the case.
In a life and death situation, there's no time to stop and think, so the officers just go and do what they're trained to do.
Police say they're asking you to help reduce their call volume as much as possible in the coming weeks to make sure emergent calls are getting the attention they need. New information tonight on a fire we told you about last night. The city of West Fargo says the cost of damages in that case is upwards of $30,000. Crews were called to a garage fire in the 100 block of C Street in West Fargo yesterday afternoon. Crews quickly determined it was intentionally set. Officials say a man inside the garage threatened to hurt them if they came inside, but crews went inside anyway and got him out safely. The name of the man involved has not yet been released, and there's no word yet on any possible charges. A Fargo man is facing multiple counts of sex crimes after officers conducted a search warrant on his phone. 22-year-old Dylan Rupert is charged with 2 felony counts of third-degree sexual conduct, 9 counts of felony possession of pornographic work, and 9 counts of felony using a minor in a sexual performance. Court documents state Rurup was in jail on a DUI charge when the investigation started. Officers were monitoring his phone conversations. When he told his father to hide his cell phone, officers executed a search warrant at Rurup's home on March 13th and found his cell phone. Officers then found 8 videos of Rurup engaging in sexual activity with a young girl under the age of 16. The Minnesota State Patrol is reminding motorists to maintain order during the COVID-19 pandemic and avoid aggressive driving. The Department of Public Safety says that troopers in the last week have received more reports of aggressive driving and speeding, some more than 100 miles per hour. One trooper says we owe it to everyone who needs to be on the road right now to maintain order and provide for safe travel. Also, the State Patrol is encouraging Minnesotans to follow the advice of the State Health Department and stay home unless it's essential. Minnesota college students are also stepping up to do what they can during these hard times. Jennifer Austin shows us how they're supporting healthcare workers.
U of M medical school students Jade Cohen, Mary Thomas, and Shruti Shankar found themselves, like all U students, without in-person classes due to the virus outbreak. And for Shruti, that was a turning point.
This kind of like overwhelming sense of this is real, this is happening. And more than anything, I think we felt this need to want to help.
Shruti and another medical student came up with an idea, knowing healthcare providers everywhere were facing long hours, many with families at home. They decided to create a free service to pair students who wanted to help with the providers who needed it, calling it Min COVID Sitters.
Well, we have 140 providers signed up. We had about 70 sign up almost overnight.
Min COVID Sitters has now expanded to include students in all healthcare programs at the U and other Minnesota universities. More than 230 students are helping with childcare, matched with families in what the group calls pods to lessen the risk of exposure. Another 70 students are helping with whatever else providers need.
We also offer pet sitting, including dog walking, house sitting, and errands, especially grocery and pharmacy runs, which are obviously very important right now.
Learning in the classroom on hold, replaced by a real-world lesson in service.
It's also great just to obviously to be providing a service for our mentors and our teachers who are teaching us so much.
And we have more good news to tell you about in the midst of this pandemic. It was quite a surprise some Minnesota residents got in the mail. The wonderful act of kindness is coming up later on Valley News Live at 6.
And in weather, today's temperatures below average for this time of the year by quite a ways. We're in the 30s, the 40s, and even some 50s are in the forecast. We'll take a look at those river levels and that warmer weather next.